Proximity sensor. Proximity sensors are sensors that detect movement or presence of an object without making a physical with the object and convert the information captured into an electrical signal. Proximity sensors detect the presence of an object without touching it. As these sensors are not contact sensors, they do not cause any damage to the object. Proximity sensors do not use any type of physical moving parts. How does a proximity sensor work? The proximity sensor has transmitter and receiver. The emitter emits as a signal infrared, for example, that when it hits an object bounces back to the receiver, which activates the appropriate mechanism, closing, opening, activating an alarm, turning off a machine, etc. Also, the signal can detect the absence of something. For example, when there is daylight, the sensor turns off the light, and when the daylight goes out, turn off the light. There are many types of proximity sensor, and each senses the presence of an object in their own and distinct ways. The most commonly used proximity sensors are the capacitive proximity sensor and inductive proximity sensor. Inductive proximity sensor. Inductive proximity sensors are used to detect the presence of metals thanks to the generation of an electromagnetic field. Both the presence and absence of metal, as well as their location, can be detected. You can even count the number of metal objects that are present. They are used in the automation of industrial process, also in the field of aeronautics. Capacitive proximity sensor. Capacity sensors are those that have the ability to detect the presence of metal, chemical substances, or liquids. They can detect both the qualitative composition of something and the amount of metal presence. Their sensors are mainly used in industrial environment because they allow the composition and quality of metals present in some products to be measured. The capacitive sensor uses electrodes that emit a certain frequency which varies according to the composition and amount of matter. This oscillation in frequency is what emits the corresponding signal to the detector.
A temperature sensor is a system that detects variations in air or water temperature and transfers them into an electrical signal that reaches an electronic system. This signal leads to certain changes in that electronic system for temperature regulation. There are different types of temperature sensors, but the most used is the thermocouple sensor. It's made up of very simple mechanisms composed of two metallic materials of different nature, joined by unions called cold union and hot union. The degree of temperature detected by these junctions generates a potential difference closely dependent on the nature of the materials. The thermal sensor transforms this potential difference into an electrical signal. Temperature sensors are used in many everyday objects, such as irons, toasters, and motion sensors. A volumetric sensor transforms a person's physical features into electrical signals. In this way, it measures factors such as light, temperature, and other energy stimuli, with the aim of identifying the user in a security system. This is achieved through sophisticated combinations of sensor networks and digital cameras or microphones whose image or sound is highly accurate.
An optical sensor converts light rays into an electric signal. The purpose of an optical sensor is to measure a physical quantity of light and, depending on the type of sensor, then translate it into a form that is readable by an integrated measuring device. Are used for contactless detection, content or position parts. Can be either internal or externals. External sensors gather and transmit a required quantity of light, while internal sensors are most often used to measure to beam a other small change in direction.